So, as I was saying, your personal brand that you are building on your online platform is going to build the authority, your trust, and community. But you don't just have to build a certain way. You don't have to just come on and teach. You can actually show up as the person you want to be perceived as. So, if you're a singer, you can show your music, you can show your creation style, you can show what inspires you. If you're an artist, you can show the process and the behind the scenes, how you come up with ideas, how do you do the planning, how do you actually, where do you show, like where do you show the artwork? So whatever you want to be known for is your personal brand, okay? And what's cool about this, you can have more than one personal brand page, okay? What I always like to tell people though is have one page that's your name. So like if you're watching this on my main channel, it's Amena K, AMENAKAY. That's my main personal brand. That's who I am. Okay, it's a little bit of everything of what I do. Okay, so you'll see some art. So you'll see that on my main page. You'll see art. These are my content buckets. Okay, so these are called content buckets. 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 Okay, so these are content buckets. So art, motivation, no content, inspirational content, which you can say motivation, inspirational is pretty much the same. And then I have some coaching on there, right? I have a few reviews because I like to do skincare. So I talk about things that I like, and then I have, family. Then I have just daily life. And then I have travel, right? Okay, so those are my content buckets. That's all you will essentially see on my personal brand, right? My personal brand is made up of all this because that's who I am. That is essentially what I do. That's what I think about. That's what I like to talk about. So that's my personal brand. Okay, so your personal brand can be broad, but it's going to take a little bit more time to build that trust, that credibility, and that community around it. And that's totally fine because what I told you at the very beginning, I'm going to show you how you can take all these videos and these photos and stuff, and how you're going to think about it in a new way. Instead of thinking like I'm only building this for one particular platform, I'm actually building this as something that can be reused everywhere. Okay, like we talked about a little while ago, there's just so many other places that you can put your content. Why am I getting another restriction? I'm not saying anything like at all. Like I think they just don't like me at all on this platform anymore. Anyways, so then you're gonna take your content and you can go ahead and, like I said, reuse it, and that's gonna build your trust and authority. What's nice about this, with this each content bucket, it could also be another page. So you can have multi-pages directly a part of your personal brand that's going to amplify it, okay? So each one of these pages can be another page. So for example, one of my pages that I have is Amena Art. Now, Amena Art is technically a separate brand. It's an extension of my personal brand. It's an extension of this, but it's its own brand too, okay? I got people that work on it in Amena Art. It's actually a business, so it acts like an extension of my personal brand. I also have another page that's called Amena Lux, which is my motivational page, and it's my inspiration page too. It's both, okay? So this is both inspiration and motivation is Amena Lux, okay? And then I have a coaching page that's called Amena Academy. Okay, I think I spelled that wrong, didn't I? Is it E-D-Y? Is it C-A-M-E-D-Y?
C-A.
I think I spelled that wrong.
C-A-D-E-M.
E. Okay, yeah, there's the E. I knew there was an E somewhere in there. Okay. So my coaching page is Amena Academy, and that's where I focus a lot more of the actual coaching information on. Okay, but I also have another page that I started last year when I was talking a lot about monetizing here on TikTok. Okay, I was talking about how to scale on TikTok. So I changed. I actually had another page I was doing some odds and ends on, and it's called Meet Amena. Okay, is the actual username on that one. But that one is actually, now it's Amena Media. Okay, that is the actual title of that. So this is the page name, but then it's Amena Media, where we teach more of how to monetize directly on TikTok, the platform. Okay, let me switch this around. I'm noticing I did not switch it around this time. I think I kind of forgot. So let me go ahead and do that. Now you should be able to read. Sorry about that, guys. I just realized it was backwards for you. All right, so let's go over that again real quick because I didn't realize it was backwards. So again, your personal brand, your one page, right? That is your personal brand. That is just your name. So mine is Amena K. Okay, that's my personal brand page. Okay, that's my personal brand is Amena K. Okay, that's my personal brand page on all social media. Okay, on all social media. Amena K. All right, and that's important. Try to get it on all platforms, and you can add a dot. So mine mostly is a dot. Okay, some places on social media I don't have to have the dot, or they don't allow a dot. Okay, so it's just all one. Some people put a number at the end, like a 1, a 2, whatever, a special number. Okay, and that's fine, just as long as people know it's you. Another great thing to do. Let me try to okay. I'm not used to like the being backwards here. There we go. Another thing you could also do is your little icon on your page, like your profile photo, make sure it's all the same. Okay, make sure it's all the same so they know it's the same person over and over and over. And you can apply to get verified when you get to a certain level, or you pay for it. Okay, when you get to a certain level or you pay for it, depending on the platform. All right, that's another way you can show that it's your page. All right, so we got all these pages, right? Your personal brand page. So you got one personal brand page, and then from that personal brand page, you can have these content buckets that you talk about consistently. Content buckets on your page, and these content buckets can become their own pages. And that's what I'm showing you here. So I had all these different channels that are a piece of my extension of my personal brand. So all these channels feed back into my personal brand, and my personal brand feeds content into these content specific channels. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, if that makes sense, go ahead and tell me it makes sense. All right, I'm glad it's making sense. Okay. All right, good. All right. So I also have a channel for travel. It's called Amena Travel. Okay. For daily life, I just leave that for my personal brand. I'll just say PB. For my family, I just leave that as my personal brand. And for Amena reviews, for reviews, I have more reviews on Amena reviews. And I have another one for a different type of reviews, which is Amena Reviews 2. Okay, because now we're expanding out the different types of reviews, so we're separating that now into different categories. All right, to be more precise to getting that audience. So each one of these are feeding my personal brand, but it's also making their own little ecosystems of specific different types of audiences in the algorithm. And all of these, essentially, you can have on the big four. Remember the big four we just talked about? That is YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay? So on your big four, essentially, you can have your pages all on those too. Now you're probably like, my God, Amena, how many channels is this? This seems like a lot, because it is. It is a lot. I mean, how many channels is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this isn't even all of them, okay? I'm just showing you some of them that I have, okay? So already that's 8 plus my main channel. That's 9 channels. All right, 9 channels. Ivan, what's 9 times 4? Times 4 platforms. And I even do more than 4 platforms. Okay?
36.
So that's already 36 channels right there. Okay? Look at that. Now, can you imagine if you're posting every day or every few days on all these channels over time, how that will build up your authority, your trust, and your community? Okay, you're starting to see the light here? All right, I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad. So in our program that we teach, we actually teach how you can take the content that's on your phone, not do too much work with it, and get it to not only your personal brand page, but to all these other pages simply and easily without a huge team. Okay? So that's what we actually go over in our group over on Social Scale. Okay? It's not a part of the master course just yet, but maybe we'll add a module for it eventually, but we do talk about it. Okay. So at least as of this recording. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see. So we talked about the channels. We talked about how to build up your content and how you can reuse it. But there's one other thing that I have to cover, and then we'll call it a day for this masterclass. All right, another idea. So if you don't want to individualize your content that you are making your personal brand to feed your personal brand, and for that personal brand to feed back, right? So you have this loop system, right? So you have this loop system. There's another way you could do this, all right? I'll show you how to do that. So this isn't going to be called content buckets. This is going to be called something else, okay? So now we're going to talk about not the content buckets, but there's something else called global reach. So we talked about multi-platform reach. We talked about how to build pages to actually feed your main brand and your main brand to feed the pages, right? Now we're going to talk about one more thing today, and that's global reach. Now, all the content here, if you translate it, translate content equals new content. And I'm going to put in here subtitles. Okay. You add subtitles. All right. So now you add subtitles. You can have AI voice over it, or you can hire somebody to voice over it. And now it is new content. And what can you do with new content? You can open up more pages around your personal brand. So say this is another personal brand, PB, 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 PB. But the only difference now is this one is in French. This one is in, which it would be Deutsch, right? Or German, right?
Dutch.
Or, yeah, German. I'll just say German. I feel like I spelled that wrong. Anyways, then we have, of course, Italian. And then we can say Arabic. Arabic. Okay. And so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, all right? So now you can take your personal brand content, and now you can add subtitles, you can do it in voiceover, you can hire somebody to do that, or if you speak multiple languages, you can do it yourself. And now it's feeding it back to your main brand, which builds your authority and your credibility in a global reach. So really cool, right? So we learned quite a bit today. We learned about personal branding. Why is it important to have a personal brand? What it can do for not only you, but to build a different industry in different industries, to build your authority, your trust in your community, and how to take that across multi-platforms easily using essentially a really simple formula, and then how to also reach a global audience. So I hope you guys learned a ton on today's masterclass, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.